Welcome to Backyard Cigars. Today I'm cracking out something rare. Rare and slightly aged. I've had this in the humidor now for nearly a year at 6566 RH. This is none other than the Arturo Fuente Hemingway Untold story. A very rare figurado that Arturo Fuente releases occasionally, and people fight tooth and nail to get the opportunity to purchase this. This one kind of fell into my lap, which is really the best way to acquire these things. But seriously, I paid about $17 for it. And we'll talk about what that equates to in terms of its quality and what it offers in its smoking experience. But first, let me give you the specs. It's 7 and 5/8 by 54 ring gauge. It sports a Connecticut broadleaf wrapper, a Dominican binder, and Dominican filler. Now, I have read that the Dominican fillers used in this particular cigar are extensively aged. How aged, I'm not sure. But I thought I'd crack something out, a little special, as we get to the ending of what we know as warm weather and winter and, well, fall, right, approaches, and then winter takes over. It happens quicker than you think, especially for an outdoor smoker. One day, you're enjoying it like I am today in 74, 75 degree weather, and then a week or two passes and it's 50 degrees and you're lighting a fire pit. So always best to make the most of it and enjoy your time, especially with your cigars. As always, the draw is a little conservative in the beginning as it works its way from that tapered foot, that nibble foot as I call it. And once it evens out, all of the flavors will start to come together, and we'll see what it's about. Now, I feel like this is a serious cigar. Serious in its commitment because it serious for yourself in the commitment that you're gonna have to this cigar, because it's 7 and 5/8, 54 ring gauge. You're gonna take your time with this. You're not gonna rush it under any circumstances. So if you don't have the time to smoke any cigar of this size, just don't pick it up. Just don't pick it up. Get something else. Get something smaller. This is for when you have the time. Today I have the time. Okay? And this is what you take out of your humidor when you have the time. You go for a big cigar if that's what you so choose. And it really wasn't planned. I just kind of said, wow, I've got an entire afternoon with nothing to do. I may smoke more than one, right? But I'm gonna start off with something big, and I like the Vitola size. I like the way it feels. This figurado Vitola, where even though you've got a 54 ring gauge, right? It's extended, so you still have that elegant feel to it, and this is Arturo Fuente, right? You know that you're gonna get some good quality tobacco in here. What I've been getting so far is some sweetness, some mild coffee notes, and and some cocoa. You know, I mean, these are some of the flavors that you, if you're new to smoking, these are some of the flavors you will experience when you put a Connecticut broadleaf wrapper and combine it with a Dominican tobacco, with certain Dominican tobaccos, right? So, and then when we're talking about Dominican tobacco that's been aged, that's going to give it another flavor change. That's going to change the profile of that tobacco just a bit. Connecticut broadleaf wrapper offers these notes of sweetness and cocoa, and I think it always works really well with Dominican tobacco. So that's just my take on it. I just want you to see how this cigar is holding its ash. it's really tight, and it's time. It really is, because the burn line is just a bit off, and I know that I know that it requires a touch up. So unfortunately, sometimes that happens with these figurado shapes, and they'll work themselves out. That first The first 2 inches of this cigar really burned rather quickly, and were a little disappointing in that they didn't offer more than just some sweetness and some cocoa. But that's okay. We're looking now what I think will be where it slows down a bit and it really gets into a groove. Huh. Boy, was I ever right. What, this cigar's just taking off. It is just a monster in terms of the enjoyment that it's giving me, the monster in complexity, because it's giving me cocoa, it's giving me hints of soft milk chocolate. I'm getting a creaminess followed by a nice, almost like a hazelnut coffee note. It's just really impressing me at this point. Once those first 2 inches of ash came off, which I felt to some degree were stifling the cigar, and I gave it another clip up top because I felt I was a little too conservative with my initial clipping, which was a guillotine cut clipping. So sometimes you have to do that, guys. You know, you give it a clipping and you feel like you need to just give it another one. Just don't go crazy, right? Just give it another little one. And it really made a difference in the draw as well. Now, as I'm sitting here, and you're not going to be able to see this, there are all these crystals on this wrapper. The USA Connecticut Broadleaf wrapper is one of the most special wrappers in the world, hands down. And I think that, like I said before, when blenders come up with certain blends and they decide on what wrapper they're going to use on their cigar, they're looking for something that's going to not just complement the filler, right? But they're looking for something also that's going to give you a visual. That when you look at the cigar, you're going to be able to sort of envision what it might taste like, right? And when you're looking at this dark USA Connecticut Broadleaf wrapper, especially mine, that's been aged nearly a year, and you see those crystals in the sun, and you see the veins, and you see the oil sheen, it's just an impressive looking cigar, and it really does look like some dark chocolate. So you get that, but not only does it look that way, it imparts some of those flavors, some of that sweetness, some of that cocoa, some of that chocolatiness, and if you're looking and thinking of yourself as a dark roasted coffee bean, when you look at the sheen of this wrapper, it's got that sheen, and it's visually it's pleasing. There's another note coming in just now that is, it's sort of like a Vermont maple syrup. It's light, it's in the finish, and I would call it a grade A Vermont, where with a very fine, where it's a very young Vermont maple syrup. Those of you that are into syrup, specifically maple syrup, you'll know that they come in grades, and depending on the grade, you go from lightest to darkest. The darkest being the closest to an Aunt Jemima or a log cabin in its deep molasses flavor. This would be more on the light side, the fancy maple syrup, as they call it. And it's got that in the finish. And sometimes also with the Connecticut broadleaf wrapper, it will impart slight leathery bitter notes sometimes. And again, all depending on the blend and how it's blended. But with this cigar, I'm getting none of those leathery bitter notes. It's just smooth. I know it's been in the humidor almost a year, but I think even without putting it in the humidor for a year, I think it would still be similar in terms of its what it offers in enjoyment and in the flavor profile. It really is. It's just a pleasure to smoke this. It really is. I mean, man. Oh man. The aroma on this cigar is also outstanding, and the draw on it is now just perfect. And it holds an ash very, very well, as you can see, as you saw earlier. And I'm going to tap it now, just because I don't want it on my lap, but this is one of those cigars that holds the ash extremely well. It's extremely creamy. Creamy, notes of chocolate, notes of a soft, light roasted coffee. No, medium roasted. Because light, I tend to think sometimes will impart some acidic notes that you're definitely not getting in the cigar. So a medium roast coffee, a soft medium roast. A nice, yeah, man, it's just a nice little finish. That sweetness that I was getting on the finish isn't there as much now. But it's extremely creamy. Just now I'm starting to get a little bit of those soft leather notes that I associate with, well, the Connecticut broadleaf wrapper is one of those wrappers that will impart that. A Pennsylvania broadleaf will also give you some of those, but they're a little bit on a more strong, bitter notes. But now I got some soft leather just now on the back end. Not, it hasn't cut the creaminess, but it has reduced it just a tad bit. The sweetness is still there. The coffee note is still there. I mean, the way that they kind of come in waves, it's just tremendous. This is an outstanding cigar. Let's talk. This is the last thing. We're going to talk about the price. $17 and change, which is what I paid. My better half smelled the cigar, and she said, oh, I got to try that. So she came out. She's like, I got to try that. I said, okay, here. Okay, I want it back. She's like, this is really good. It's really creamy, cocoa note. I'm like, yeah, it is. And she's like, Fuente. Ah, yeah, I know their quality. So then I said, what do you think it's worth, just from what you're tasting? She's like, tastes like a $30 cigar, easy. So it's MSRP 17 and change. But yeah, you'll have some B&Ms that are going to charge $30, $35, even $40 for it, depending on where you're at. You may even pay as much as $60 for this cigar. If you're at a one of these cigar lounges that carries a rare selection of cigars, that's what they may charge you for it. In New York City, at least. And I said, wow, isn't that something that you automatically associated the flavor and the quality of the cigar with $30? Well, obviously, she has something to fall back on. She's had many $30 cigars, and some of them have been incredibly good and very memorable. A lot of them have been Fuentes. They haven't all been the same type of blend and cigar wrapper. Connecticut broadleaf isn't actually her favorite wrapper, but she automatically recognized the quality and the value and the worth of the cigar, even though that's not what it goes for as an MSRP. So again, these prices fluctuate throughout the country. I'm saying 17 here, it could be 28 somewhere else. And that's what you get. When I went to Philadelphia, the first thing that I noticed when I purchased cigars was no tax. No tax, because there isn't one. So they fluctuate. But back to the outstanding value of this cigar and the fact that it really lives up to everything that I have been told about it. I mean, this is no longer an untold story, because I'm telling the story right now. It's amazing. It's worth the hunt. It's worth the purchase. If you want to pay a ludicrous amount of money for it, that's up to you. You know your budget. You know your limits. For me, I like it in that $17 range if I can find it. But I will gladly admit to you that I won't shy away from paying $30 for this cigar if I get the chance to buy it. So I'll leave you with that. And wow, I've got crystals on my hand from the oil. This is amazing. If only I could show you that. Wow, no, I can't. You're not going to see it. Just believe me. Thank you for watching. Till next time on Backyard Cigars.